Though, aside from AI, video content is really where social media is going. It's already gone there. We're actually a video focused agency for restaurants and hospitality brands, and the reason is because when you're posting a video, you are getting that larger reach on a non-paid level.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast, where we talk all things money and business. I'm your host, Angela Duncan, and today's episode is sponsored by Drive Planning, where we bring private investment opportunities from the wealthy to you, creating tax burdens for our clients. Keep more, make more, live more. Go to morewithangela.com today to get more information. On today's podcast, I get to interview Dani Bergman with 1084 Media. We're going to talk about why video content is so important for your business and also her incredible Jewish matchmaking events here live in Miami. Welcome, Dani. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, Angela. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming. We are in person in the studio today, so this is exciting. We get to change locations from time to time. So I would love for you to first start off with, tell me about your story, kind of like how you got to what you're doing today.
Yeah, of course. So I am from LA originally. I've been living in Miami for about 3 years. For the past 7 years, really my whole adult life, I've owned and operated a social media agency for restaurants and hospitality brands. And then when I moved to Florida, I had the opportunity to join a Netflix show called Jewish Matchmaking. I got the part because, when I moved to Florida, I joined a Facebook group called Jews in South Florida because I didn't know how I was going to make friends, how I was going to make connections. And on that Facebook page, there was a posting that said, casting Jewish singles for a dating show on a major streaming service. I applied for it for jokes, got it, and then, went through this whole TV reality experience with Netflix. It was super fun. The show aired May 3rd of last year of 2023. And ever since then, it's really elevated my presence in the Jewish community. And I have the opportunity now to network and connect with a lot of people over social media, in person, out and about. And basically what I've done with that network is I have started a social club called Club Mingle here in Miami. It's meant to mix, match, mingle people. I think a lot of people are getting out of the whole dating app scene. They're getting out of meeting people online now that COVID's really kind of over and people are getting out again. People want the opportunity to meet people in person and quality events, quality people. So since the show's come out, I've been throwing events for people and the community, and people have loved it. I've kind of decided to solidify it into this club, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. So what's one takeaway maybe from when you did the show? Because obviously the first thing I heard is I just applied and you didn't really think much about it. So for the viewers or for anyone listening, it's if you're thinking about something, take action.
Yeah.
So I love that. So from the show itself, what do you think you've learned from it?
I definitely learned a lot about dating. The show, I worked with a professional Jewish matchmaker to find the love of my life. And I think what, is different about working with a matchmaker is matchmaking has this kind of, I would say, negative connotation where people, they go to a matchmaker because they can't find someone themselves. And that's not really the case. The matchmaker is kind of there as a coach. I think today in the dating world, both men and women, there are small things that people will write someone off super quickly, and the matchmaker is there to follow up with both dates and see how it goes, and if they say anything, oh, it's not for me, or maybe it's, I don't like this, the matchmaker kind of coaches them through to push through it. And I think that's what a lot of people need these days in the dating world, and also just in relationships as well. They need to kind of look past that surface level aspect of people and really give them the opportunity to show them who they are. So I would say from the show, I definitely learned to not write people off so fast because it's only first impression and there's so much more under the layers.
Yeah, and that's true. You can totally apply that to the business world too.
Yeah, definitely.
No. Talk about your media company. How did you even decide that you wanted to do a media company?
Yeah. So I've loved social media my whole life. I got on Facebook when I was like 11 years old. My parents never allowed me to have MySpace. And when Facebook came out, I asked them for Facebook and they said, sure, go for it. And then when I was in college, my dream was always to work for Justin Bieber. I love Justin Bieber. He's my childhood guy, like to the day I die. I've been to every single concert. When I came out of college, I worked for a social media agency for pop artists. And that was kind of my first introduction in social media in the real world. Also, when I came out of college, TikTok wasn't even out yet. Instagram was just releasing features that were good for businesses. And I learned a lot from there. I quickly realized I didn't love working with artists. It kind of took away that joy of actually listening to the music for me, but I really loved food, and I loved working with restaurants and getting to eat food and getting to display food, and that whole thing about food porn was a thing back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's how I started working in food and hospitality, and since I've been starting it, I've definitely learned a lot of tricks and tips. When I was first at this agency, I actually went to the launch party of when TikTok bought Musical.ly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with one of my clients. So it was so funny because everyone was TikTok, 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 and no one knew what TikTok was. And then we got invited, me and my client, to a TikTok party, or like a surprise party. I don't even remember what it was called. And we get there and there's like this big production and everyone's talking. This guy gets up on stage and he's like introducing TikTok. And it was so funny because for, I want to say 6 months after that launch party, TikTok was still, no one was talking about it. No one knew what it was. And then when COVID came around, it obviously started. So I definitely learned a lot, coming from that side of the business. And over the years, I've just taught myself, played around with ads and features and what's trending and what works and what doesn't. And it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So just staying on the topic of the social media right now, what do you see going forward? I mean, I hear people talking about AI. I am like the least techiest person, so all of this AI stuff really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I've heard people like joking around, like dating apps are you don't know if you're gonna be talking to the real person or like emailing the real business anymore. So what do you think the good part of the AI for your company and what you're doing?
I mean, listen, I think AI has a lot of benefits. AI with social media, it gives you the opportunity to respond to people without actually having to be on the apps. So now what you can do is you can put in AI generated responses to people that are sending you DMs on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Actually, it's not on TikTok yet. So if someone asks you, for instance, can I see a menu, or is this vegan? You can put in AI generated prompts that will respond for you. So that takes a lot of time off of your hands, because a really big thing about social media is that it's customer service, right?
Right.
So there's actually statistics out there that people that get responded to by brands on social media, whether it be restaurants, e-commerce, anything, they are more likely to visit that business, and they're more likely to buy from them. So responding to comments, responding to messages is key. I would say also with AI, they did just launch basically the ability to write captions based on the photo. So you upload a photo and you can AI generate some captions and pick from it. Obviously, it's not always going to be good. It's not always going to be the brand voice, but it kind of gives you ideas. I would say for me, I use ChatGPT. I use AI to brainstorm more so than pull exactly, because to find like what's another word for delicious or what's another word for ravishing, like it gives you those ideas in caption format, and you can kind of pick and choose what words you want to use and keywords, and then you can build the caption based on the brand voice.
Yeah, so for like someone like me, seeing the photo with the caption is like, okay, now I know what that is. I want to go to that restaurant, so I can see how that's like a selling point too.
Yeah. I mean, would you say like you've seen a post on Instagram and you're like, wow, I really need to go to this restaurant?
Yeah, I would say
For
that.
sure.
I'm like the window shopper too, so just put it out there for me to take a look at, and then I'm like, yep, that's what I want, and then I buy it.
Yeah. I would say though, aside from AI, video content is really where social media is going. It's already gone there. We're actually a video-focused agency for restaurants and hospitality brands, and the reason is because when you're posting a video, you are getting that larger reach on a non-paid level. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, really since TikTok became a thing and user-generated content became so widespread, all the platforms are pushing video. So if you're posting a reel, if you're posting a TikTok, you need to make sure to be getting that, to have that first 5 seconds, have that hook to basically trick the user into thinking it's an influencer and it's a person posting it rather than a brand. Because when you have that authentic selling point, they're more likely to engage, they're more likely to watch the video, and it's more likely to go viral.
5 seconds, wow.
Yeah.
It gets shorter and shorter and shorter, so
Yeah.
you got 5 seconds to catch my attention, otherwise I'm like moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the event part of what you're doing here in Miami. I'm very similar. Like most of the time I'm doing podcasts at home or I'm doing Zoom meetings at home.
Yeah.
And I have to get out at nighttime. Like I just need some interaction with people. Like I get tired of talking to my dogs all day.
Yeah.
So like I want to get out and do things. So, but now you're kind of taking that and creating like some amazing events. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the events are really fun. I'm a very friendly, outgoing person. I love to throw parties. The event started because I started my hero party, I like to call it. It's a stoplight party. So you wear green if you're single, yellow if it's complicated, red if you're taken, and blue if you're there for friends. People really love it because when you walk in, you get a wristband with whatever color that you choose. It's a party for everybody. So people in relationships can come, people that just want to meet people can come. It's really for everyone. And when you're wearing a wristband, per se, that basically tells people I'm here to be talked to. It really takes away that awkwardness of, do I want to approach that person that you would just have if you were at a bar regularly.
Right.
So that's kind of how the event started. From there, it trickled down into doing like entrepreneurs dinner. We did a singles pickleball event. We've been doing a lot of Shabbat dinners. I'm obviously Jewish, so a lot of my events, stem from Jewish tradition and culture, which I think is really beautiful. People love the Shabbat dinners because Shabbat is a time where you take a reset, you take a rest at the end of the week. You really use that time to spend it with your loved ones and connect and just enjoy over good food and drinks. So that's kind of the culture and tradition I'm bringing into that Shabbat dinner aspect, and people are really enjoying it. With the singles pickleball event, I think as well, I'm offering events where people don't necessarily have to drink, because for people now, a lot of people aren't drinking, and a lot of people want to meet people that's not in a drinking environment.
Right.
So people are loving the pickleball events because it's social, it's fun, it's active. So yeah, it's been really great. A lot of people have been connecting. I actually heard there is a full-blown boyfriend and girlfriend from my pickleball event. Yeah. And I know a couple other couples that have gone out on dates. I went to a party actually this last weekend, and there were these 3 girls there that I see all the time on social media together. And I saw them at first at one of my events, so I asked them, did you guys know each other prior to my event? And they said, no, Dani, this is because of you.
Oh my goodness.
We met at your event and we're best friends. And not only are we best friends, but we have a whole network of people, guys, girls that we go out with. We have happy hour and karaoke, and it's such a beautiful thing to see because I think people are wanting that human connection again.
Yeah, and I like the colors too, and that you have one for friends, because I could be a +1 coming to the event with my friend who might be single, so then I can wear the one that says, hey, I'm just looking for friends. Yeah. Kind of takes the pressure off a little bit too.
Yeah, it definitely, for people too, I think being single still, like in today's day and age, people feel weird about it. So even if you're single, you don't want to necessarily promote that you're single. So that's why the blue is there. Yeah.
I like that too. And obviously you said you're Jewish, but I'm Christian, and I know that I could come to the events too.
Yeah, it's welcome. Everyone is welcome. It's really just a way of networking and way of meeting new people. So I'm having a really big one on April 19th. I'm actually combining 2 concepts. So it's going to be a Shabbat dinner that turns into a stoplight party. So Shabbat dinner and afters, it's going to be Coachella themed. Because it's
cool.
Coachella weekend.
Yes, it
and
is.
I'm from LA, so I'm very excited.
Bring LA meets Miami.
Exactly, yeah. We did Miami meets Mykonos back in December. We did a party that was themed around the Scorpios venue in Mykonos.
Yeah.
And now we're doing Coachella.
Yeah, I was just in LA last weekend. I saw that the Oscars were being set up.
Yeah.
So just like walking down and kind of seeing all the behind the scenes and all the effort that kind of goes
Yeah.
into events like that, which I'm sure there's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into your events too. So with the dinners, do we bring food, or how does that work when you do your Shabbat dinners?
No, the dinner's always included with the ticket.
Okay.
We work with an Israeli chef who provides kosher style Shabbat dinners.
Nice.
And what that means is it's basically kosher meat, no milk and meat in the same course.
Right.
The dinner is not made necessarily in a kosher kitchen, so that's why it's kosher style.
Gotcha.
Yep. And it's delicious. We do every time we do it, we switch it up a little bit. It's usually like, chicken, shawarma, salads, Mediterranean inspired. It's delicious. You should definitely come to one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't cook, so that's why I was asking. Like, if you ask me to bring food, I'll bring plates or napkins or something, but I don't cook, so there's no bringing of food.
No, it's okay. Because I work in the restaurant and hospitality space, I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of connections. So I'm able to a lot of my events do revolve around good food. I think good food brings people together. I did a Friendsgiving event once up in Fort Lauderdale, and it was a private tasting kitchen, and it was beautiful. And I think that's what really brings people together, and people like to know that they're spending money and they're getting good product as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're combining your passions with, a business, because
Yeah.
obviously you need to make money from it as well,
Yeah.
but you're having fun with it too.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that one of these days, like, someone brings my husband through,
And the audience is listening.
And you're listening.
Maybe highlight a local restaurant for us in Miami that you've either helped or done a feature with that maybe we don't all know about, and that you enjoyed working with.
Yes, so Novella Cafe Social in Wynwood. It's inside the Oasis. It's one of my greatest partners. The owner of the restaurant, is actually the chef that helps me with all of the Shabbat dinner food. It is a coffee co-working space, so it's really beautiful. It's open in the morning, closes at 4 p.m. And it's really nice because it's in the Oasis. It's a beautiful setting. People sit there, they work, they eat, they grab coffee. It's a really community-driven space. I would definitely recommend going there. It's always a great time. Food is phenomenal. Coffee's very good. My sister says it's the best coffee in Miami.
Oh, very nice.
And that's a big statement.
I was going to say there's a lot of coffee in Miami, so that's a big deal.
That's a big statement for my sister.
So, from the event perspective, maybe something that you have learned that you didn't know putting on events, now that you're kind of doing some more events, from a money or business perspective, what would you say if someone was looking to put on events that they should pay attention to?
Yeah, I think that I've thrown events that are anywhere from 100 to my biggest event was over 500 people.
Wow.
The event over 500 people was probably extremely stressful for me. I remember kind of running around. I think it's very important to have an operator at these events. Me being the host, I don't have more than 2 or 3 minutes to talk to really anyone because I want to be able to talk to everybody.
Right.
I want to make sure the event's going smoothly. So it's important to have an operator to make sure that things are going smoothly in terms of the audio, the sound, the check-in, the bar, that kind of stuff, because not one person can do it all, let me tell you, especially when there's 500 people coming to your event. I would say that. I would say the promotion is very, very key. I do a lot of my promotion on TikTok. That's where I find a lot of the people that come to my events.
Interesting.
And it's wild. It's a beautiful thing. I think it really shows you the power of social media because
it's free.
It's free if you can hit it correctly.
Yeah.
And people come up to me all the time, and I always ask them, how did you find out about my event? And they say, TikTok.
Huh.
I have people that have come to my pickleball events from Fort Lauderdale because they saw it on TikTok.
Wow.
I know.
Very interesting. I'm going to have to make a note for my social media person.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok because I just never go on it. It's one of those things where I know if I go on it, I'm lost for hours. So I'm very protective of my time.
Yeah.
So good. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got a fun question for you as we start to wrap up the show. If you could have a superpower or a super talent, what would it be and why?
Ooh, good question. I would say if I could have a superpower, I would love to be able to read people's minds. So I can understand what they're thinking, where they're coming from, maybe what they've been through, so how to approach a conversation with them. And obviously sales.
Right.
If you know what you're thinking, you know how to sell them.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be my superpower, super talent. What about you?
Yeah. You're reversing the tables. Mine is something silly. Actually, I love music. Like, I am a huge fan, live music, and if I could have the ability to sing, have a voice that people would want to hear, that would be my talent.
Oh, you can always practice.
Yeah, I've tried. It's still not working.
I thought I could sing back in the day when I was like 11, 12 years old, and I
Yes.
was in musicals and never got the lead part.
Yes.
So then I realized I definitely can't sing.
Yeah, now you know why.
Now I know why.
I'm going to save it for my house when I'm by myself. So
Yeah,
that's good.
in the shower.
Yeah. So Dani, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dani M. Bergs. For my club mingle here in Miami, also we're going to be doing some events in New York and LA this year.
Nice.
Club mingle is the handle on social as well with 2 M's. And then for the media company that I run, it's called 1084 Media, 1084 Media on Instagram and TikTok as well.
Awesome. It's been so nice having you on the show today. I greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.